What's up, everyone? Welcome to Cruising with Cruz. I am yours truly, Cruz, and I'm sick. No, I'm actually feeling a lot better than I was yesterday, including the day before. Oh my God, the day before was atrocious, especially it being the race day weekend. Um, yeah. Before I continue on, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification button for more videos on motorsport related content. The reason why I say that is I'll explain more towards the end of this video. But anywho, so this was a big weekend for racing because now we have Indy cars back on track as well. And man, I was more anticipated on watching that this weekend versus the Cup race, especially from the early rumors of the short car or the short track package not being that great. Drivers were still complaining about that a lot from what I've been hearing and been reading, and I was very skeptical because Phoenix, in my opinion, I think it had probably had the best racing um, around 2004, literally until they had to repave it back in 2011. Because 2011 had both races. It had the repaved version, and then it had the old configuration when Jeff Gordon won. And he had that good race with Kyle Busch. And that was the last time we actually saw some really decent racing. And then they had to reformat Phoenix from having the start-finish line from where the original front stretch is at to the back stretch where the dog leg is at. So all the cars can fan out and whatnot. And yeah, me personally, I'm not a fan of this Phoenix configuration just because of just how on the restarts are crazy. Yes, I think that's what the fans like, especially these newcomer fans. They like that action pack of side-by-side racing and then just the wrecks and whatnot. But me personally, I miss that old style racing where essentially, it was more of a driver's type of race versus, the track kind of just, being the way it is. I think Harvick said it best when it's like more of a driver's type of a race when you're having to race the track versus racing others, and Phoenix, I feel like Phoenix has kind of been something that's been missing that for quite some time. And me personally, I agree, especially how the championship 4 race last year, it did pan out. It was pretty good, obviously we had Ross Chastain, be a different winner, but this time around I wasn't really too invested, but I still watched it anyways, and for the most part it was relatively calm. Couple cautions because of the stage breaks, but then towards the end, that's when the cautions started coming out. But yeah, Christopher Bell, man, like I feel like he kind of have more of a redemption race with this one because given the fact that last year, he just loses one of his brake rotors, just ends up cutting his right front tire, and he just shoots up against the wall, and that just ended his chances of winning that championship. But I felt like he kind of had redemption coming into this race, and he pretty much dominated for the most part. From what I saw, he just literally he laid a butt whooping with the field, and yeah, it was again a fairly decent race. I think the ultimate answer, as everyone's been saying, is adding more horsepower. And I think one of the articles I just saw on jskis.com was the possibility of them doing that and adding more horsepower, because yeah, I mean, I feel like these cars don't have enough power for it to be a driver racing the track versus having to make those consistent passes and all that. And yeah, I think if they do that, the racing would be a little bit more better. But me personally thinking after this year, I'm pretty sure they signed on for next year for it being the championship race. But me personally, I think they just need to move away from Phoenix, because honestly, having the race at Homestead, not only was it a good, like always, like good entertaining race every single time, but the track, the way the track is now kind of aged, it brought more character, and that lane variation running the bottom side to the high side. It was just an overall good track. So hopefully with them going back into that, only one fan can hope that they can go back to that, but who knows. F1 was again racing over the weekend. I'm noticing I don't pay attention much to F1 clearly because I'm now noticing they're racing on Saturdays instead of Sundays, especially with the first and second GP being on Saturdays. So I was like, okay, well, I guess this is going to be a new thing ever since after Vegas. But there's not much to be talked about. Verstappen won again, so there's nothing new there. But the Indy Cars were back on track this weekend, and man, it was a lot of hype. New faces and new places. Roman Grosjean for Junco's Racing. Alex Palou, reigning champ with new DHL colors. Michael or Andretti Global, as they're now called. They have Marcus Ericsson over there with them now. Um, but my guy Joseph Newgarden, I mean, I was kind of watching on him. He's my pick this year to win the championship, just because last year I was more gutted for him because not only he won the Indy 500, but I felt he would have capped off that perfect year with that championship, but he was up short. But he started off this year right, like earlier in the season he won with Porsche Penske in the 24 Hours of Daytona, so he's looking pretty strong coming into his motorsports element, that being the Indy cars. And they did an interesting style for practice. I saw they did like one 20-minute practice session with all the cars, and then they did a 10-minute where it was split, which I thought it was interesting. One of the rumors I heard was Andretti just kind of being vocal on Penske selling IndyCar, just because of where the brand is going and the direction the sport is going. Me personally, I'm not as invested as much as an IndyCar as I am mainly with NASCAR, because NASCAR I pay attention more with the rumors and stuff like that. But IndyCars I've slowly been dabbling in there, and like I said, I've been growing more of a heart to it. As a matter of fact, I actually have plans on going to the Grand Prix of Long Beach, if everything goes well, but I'm not banking on it just yet. But anyways, yeah, Andretti was from what I've heard, was just vocal about Roger Penske just pretty much selling a majority of the IndyCar series, and at least him still owning the speedway, And I feel like it kind of does make sense, because these tracks most of the schedule has been like, pretty much the same thing with a few change-ups. That $1 million race that they're gonna have up here in kind of by Palm Springs, California. And then the move from the streets of Nashville to the oval of Nashville Super Speedway. So, but yeah, in terms of like what they need, I personally think they do need more ovals, not like serious fast ovals, but some ovals to kind of just level out the schedule a little bit. Anyways, aside from that, that rumor, it was pretty cool seeing just IndyCar back in action. As a matter of fact, the race started at 9 o'clock my time over here, so I was actually able to get up early enough to watch it. But I think that's when I started coming down with my cold, and that's why I sound like this. But yeah, I was more committed watching the IndyCar versus the Cup race. I only saw half of the Cup race, and I just passed out because I was just too sick. But anyways, yeah, IndyCars was really good, and I liked how towards the end the fuel strategy was kind of like playing out, like with Colton Herta, Scott McLaughlin. Like it was just kind of building up again. But Joseph laid a butt whooping on that race, I will say the least, And he even said it too, coming into this season, that they revamped their whole program for the road courses and the street courses, because that's where they were just lacking so much last year, was capitalizing on those tracks. On the ovals, Joseph just he was good at them. He pretty much won 90% of the oval races, including the 500. So I mean, he was just good. It's just the road courses and the street courses mainly were the ones that were kind of kicking his butt. So he kind of just did a whole complete overhaul over the off season. Clearly with the Rolex 24, that helped him out. I saw that he unfollowed a lot of people on social media. I guess he doesn't follow anyone on social media. He just posts what he does. And I think that's good overall with social media. Me personally, I don't have my social media, but I might essentially start one up, but I'm not going to follow people on it. I might just have one so you guys can be more informed and up to date with the posts and everything that I might have going on the channel. But yeah, for the most part, it was a complete overhaul for the off season for Joseph, and he came in with his guns loaded, because man, he was good. He was really, really good, and for him to win the first race of the season, I'm like, all right, I'm not trying to jinx him or anything, because I want him to win the championship this year. I would love it to see him repeat the 500, because that would be cool. But anywho, yeah. Pretty decent race weekend, to say the least. This weekend we have the 12 Hours of Sebring going on. The NASCAR guys are going to Bristol, so that should be fun. I believe the Xfinity has the off week this weekend, so it's the trucks in the Cup that are going to Bristol this weekend. And yeah, I don't know if F1's racing again this weekend. Again, I don't know. But anyways, as I was mentioning earlier about this channel, in terms of content, yes, I'm currently working on a new video, and actually this is a video that I'm going to try to edit and add some more, more context stuff to the video, because I know these videos are just kind of just one shot, one script go. And I wanted to actually upload it today, but I've just not been feeling the greatest. Like, I feel better today, but I had enough energy to put out this video versus doing the other one, because the other one's more like, okay, I'm actually going to take my time a little bit. And that's why I'm saying too, I think starting this weekend, I'm going to start calling it Motorsports Weekend with Cruising with Cruz. Just because, I've been doing these weekly and I like it. It's kind of just like a good little highlight of the race weekends. Get my review and my take on it. Essentially down the line, I think if I do start the podcast, I might do a podcast where I'll have people call in and just chime in and just say what they want to talk about. But for the most part, yeah, I'm gonna try to get more content out there for you guys. I know I've been saying this for the last couple of videos, but this time I'm actually trying to be more serious. And I just hate the fact that I got hit with this cold, because I'm like, ugh. And balancing out 2 jobs is not the easiest thing, but you know what? I do want to commit to this because I enjoy making these videos. I enjoy, putting my stuff out there. And I know I've been mainly doing motorsport stuff, but in terms of just other content, I do want to get it out there. Clearly, we see this guy right on my shoulder. And as a matter of fact, it was a big weekend for my fellow Godzilla fans, but I'll talk more about that in the next video. Gosh, me being sick is just really getting my tongue tied. Anyways, yes, I'll talk more about that in the next video, but please like, subscribe, and hit that notification button for the next one, and I'll catch y'all on the flippity flip.